All right. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another broadcast of Project 365. I'm going to be your host today, Takira Swan, and we are here to bring hope, encouragement, and inspiration to the entire world. Now, before we start our broadcast today, I'm just going to remind all our viewers out there to go to YouTube and subscribe, like, share, comment. When you do that, you become part of our team, and that's how we help to spread hope, encouragement, and inspiration to the entire world. Okay, now today we're going to do something a little different. I'm kind of excited about it. We have a few new people and a couple of people that are not strangers to the broadcast. We have Bishop Bellinger here. We have Latoya Hall, and we have Miss Ashley Spencer. Thank you guys for joining us today.
Glad to be here.
Hey, yes, glad to be here.
So the last time we had Bishop Bellinger on our broadcast, it was amazing. If you did not see it, please go back in our archives and check it out. But I wanted to bring him back on to talk to people of my generation, generations beneath me, about mentorship. So those of you who do not know, I'll let Bishop Bellinger tell a little bit about himself, but he is a coach. He's a mentor to many, a spiritual father to many. And I feel like in this season, it's very, very important to have the right alignment with the right people in your life, especially with the correct mentors and who works for you, not who works for everyone else, but who works for you and who's going to better your life mentally, physically, spiritually. So we just want to talk about that a little bit so that, you know, especially people of my generation can stay on track. So let's bring in Bishop Bellinger. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. Excited to be with you all, as always. Good. What a joy it is.
That's good. Tell us a little bit about yourself when, about you coaching.
Okay. Boy, now, are you talking about coaching in my professional, or are you talking about relative sports? Because sports, I officiate basketball. I'm in charge of the floor. I make the final decision. I throw ticks, throw you out, tell parents get the heck out of my gym. But that, you know, but that's I enjoy doing, number one, what I do. That is pouring into other people, stimulating people, exciting people. Because I believe that if I don't, I shorten my lifetime. And so one of the great joys I get out of the last few years is pouring into this generation of millennials, and Gen X's, Gen Y, and Gen Q's, and Gen Ys. I'm just throwing it out because I believe it's my job, my responsibility. And I often say that God said to me that if I pour into this generation of new leaders and pastors like you to take care of, He will lengthen my days. So I ain't trying to die and leave here soon. I'm trying to give it all to you all. Give it all to you all. I'm going to drop this quote and we'll talk more about it. The other day, and I talked to Bishop Denver, telling him about it. He said, whoa, you know how Bishop is. He go, whoa. And I said that the Lord said to me, if you live off what you have, you don't have to live for what you're getting. And I shared him in brief about what's been happening in the last 5-6 weeks. Sometimes we want more to live. We don't realize we got enough to live on, and what God gives you, you put it in storage and leave it alone like it's never there. Because sometimes what you're getting would never promise to you anyway. You were going to live off what you have. So if I say anything to this generation, live with what you have, what you already got, but what you're getting, put it to the side. I think this is one of the most great times for this generation to bud and to expand and to even experience and to express themselves. I think one of the difficulties is they don't have any room to bud because they've been closed in. They don't have any room sometimes to expand because they feel like nobody wants to listen. But I believe that their experience is going to be good for us in this season.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. You know, every time you say something, I have a little side note I make that I could expound upon, but I'm gonna try to stay on track. But that's good. That's good. So, can you talk to us about the importance of having the right mentor in your life? Because I know you're a father to many. You give plenty of advice to people, you know, to help them pursue their dreams or help them to become who they are. So can you talk about that a little bit?
Having the right mentor in your life is like having the right doctor. It's like going to the right pharmacy, going to the right grocery store. You can have 3 grocery stores, like where I live. There are 3 grocery stores on a street where I live, major stores. So I have to decide what each one of those stores do for me at any given time. Mm-hmm. So a mentor is going to be important for the simple reason you're going to get experience, you're going to get expertise, you're going to get somebody who enjoy. If your mentor or mentee, whoever does not enjoy being with you, and you start feeling uneasy, it's time to take the A train and move. But in this season, you don't want to go for somebody because they got a name, or they got popularity, or they got prestige. You want to go with somebody who take an interest in who you are. Now watch this now, who you are, and you don't want anybody to take interest in you. And I may sound a little graphic, who's going to rape you, who's going to abuse you, who's going to molest you, who's going to take all that you got. See, here's the thing, and I'm jumping ahead. You have so much to offer that your mentor may take what you give and go out and use it for themselves and leave you on the corner. Ain't no buses coming out at 11 o'clock. So you stuck until 5 o'clock in the morning.
Right. Yeah.
Now, but I would say this. If you're serious about a mentee, make them fill out a resume. Make them fill out a bio. I'm serious. Research them and tell them to give you some references. And then bring them around the most important people in your life. See how they size them up, how they discern, what they pick out. You get the right people in your life. They can tell you is somebody good enough for you. Don't try to do it by yourself. Get some references.
Yeah. Now, I don't want to be heavy-sided on our panel here. Panelists, Ashley and Latoya, do you have anything to say about what has been said so
far? Clearly. I didn't want to speak out while Bishop was talking because I know I wasn't muted, but oh my goodness, Bishop, yes. Don't do it on your own. That's like so profound. Do not do it on your own because it is important to have those special people that are around you to help you vet people out. They may see stuff that you don't see. They may see a character flaw in this mentor that doesn't necessarily make them a bad person. It just doesn't make them the fit for you. Wow. And it is so, you saying that just yes. I'm on it. You talking good. I'm taking notes, and I thought I had it together, but I'm taking notes. Okay. I wrote down everything you said, but that right there, let the people who are close to you, around you, who you trust, who help you sort things out, who God sent to help you sort things out, let them help you sort that out. That person is going to be just as vital to your life and your relationship as those people that you have right there already are. Even to see how they interact with each other. Because if these people are important to you and this person is going to be your mentor, you on it, Bishop. I'm sorry, that's it. Go ahead. I'm going to take over. That's yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. I need to say that. Thank you.
How about you, Ashley?
I think everything that was said so far was definitely valuable information. I take another approach also, in addition to that, because we live in a digital generation. So a lot of my mentors for ventures that I took on were digital mentors. I needed people that were not in my circle and people that knew more than I did about things that I was interested in, especially when it came to business. So I found a lot of value in digital mentors. I read tons of books. But when I needed to know things about growing, a business, I personally didn't have people in my life that were making 6 and 7 figures or scaling at the place that I wanted to scale to. So I had to find people that knew more than me, that were beyond my network. So I think it's also proven valuable in my life to find and seek out people that are doing something in the vein or the lane that you're trying to go into, and soak in the wisdom. A lot of things we have to learn through experience and through the wisdom of our parents, our elders, our community leaders. But in my line of work, being that I've been a coach for so long, and the type of work that I do professionally at the school that I work at, a lot of these kids, what they run into is they don't have any type of support system, and the community that is around them in general is a negative one. And we can't be everything to these kids. So we try to take that approach of connecting them to resources. And I turn my kids on to some of these digital people that have platforms that are positive people that have their head on straight and can pour into them in a way that they're willing to listen. So I think everything that was said was definitely valuable and vital. But I think even also that approach of finding people that you don't know and that you're not connected to could also prove to be valuable as well.
Now, before we continue real quick, I just want to say, okay, so I told Bishop Bellinger before we started, a lot of people wanted to be on the panel today, but they couldn't because of work and other obligations. He's a really popular man, but I'm really happy that these two women have come on the panel because they are in two separate different areas of their life. They have different experiences. I know both of them very well. And actually, Bishop Bellinger actually is in Ohio. So I'm not sure what part of Ohio you're in, Bishop, but Ashley's in Ohio as well. But both of these ladies, they have different backgrounds. They've both been mentors to people, and they've both been on the mentee side as well. So I just wanted to put that out there while they're giving their opinions and experiences, that I'm glad that they came on here because we're all coming from different backgrounds today. So,
and thanks for having us, because this is great.
I'm in Columbus, Ohio.
I'm in Columbus. We should connect.
Oh, Lord.
Oh!
I own this city. Half of it.
Well, then I should know you.
Okay.
We will connect.
Yes.
That's it. That's it. Yeah.
You said something. Both of you did. I can really listen to you all day, let y'all talk for me, and I just get to go and give you all the glory. Latoya, you said something, and I said, get people that know more than you, but don't get people who know you better than you. Because you can bring people in your life and they can have an assumption of who you are. And then try to pretend like they know you better. Nobody knows me better than me.
Mm-hmm.
You may know the subject matter that I'm interested in, but I'm the subject you would never know. And I'm not trying to get information so we all can grow and glow. So once you get somebody in your life who want to overtalk you, pretend like they know you better, it's time to say la-da-dee, la-da-da, bye-bye.
Awesome. And ladies, just feel free to interject. You don't have to, we're very casual with this platform today. But I definitely agree. I've had not that many mentors who have done that, but I've actually seen that happen. And I just want to encourage our viewers that if you are uncomfortable at any place with your mentee-mentor relationship, or you feel like they're not growing you, or they're not doing what you have put them in your life to do, it is okay to walk away. Like, this is not the time like, oh, I don't want to hurt their feelings, because you're stunting your growth. And I've noticed in my generation, you either have people who don't speak up and advocate for themselves, maybe because of past trauma or things that they've been through, or you have the complete opposite, where they're just like, I'm going to cut you off. I don't like that. And they cut you off too early. So I just think it's good to really gauge that and how you feel, and you'll know if it feels right or not. You'll know if it feels right. But at the same time, if your mentor is telling you something that you don't really want to hear, but you need to hear it, don't be so quick to burn those bridges, because they're really there to help you.
Kira, I'm sorry, Takira. On the mentor side, there have actually been some young people who wanted me to mentor them, and I just didn't see where our personalities together would be a good fit. And so I did not want to steer them wrong, not because I can't mentor, but it just was, the two of us would not have been a good fit. And so I didn't want to tarnish anything that may have already needed fixing. I didn't want to break it more. And I also didn't want to create a bad space between me and that whole position of being a mentor. And so I just had to redirect them to someone else that I trusted, that I knew, another mentor that I trusted, that I knew could deal with that type of personality or deal with the need that they had, because I was not going to be a good fit for them. And I had to accept the fact that it wasn't necessarily, because initially I felt bad because I was like, oh God, I can't help them. And I don't want to deal with them. And oh gosh, is it a flaw in my character? Like, you know, seriously, I had to like check myself, because I was wondering, like, I had to make sure that I didn't internalize it as, it's not that you can't do it, but all personalities and all issues, you won't be able to meet everybody all the time. And so it's not to say that you're not great at the calling or you know, that you have, but you just can't do it with that person. So be careful who you refer them to, but you're going to need to refer them. So it's okay to not be able to do it, but give them other resources that will benefit the person, the mentee.
Let me interject something, because I'm hoping that if there's some young pastors and some prophets and apostles who are trying to get people to follow them, everyone don't fit in your church and your ministry. I know we want everybody that we can. I have come to the conclusion that everyone who comes to my church, I didn't say they were not fit for the kingdom. They're not going to work in my church. I give them guidance. I give them leadership, but I know they don't fit. Now, so you got to be careful not to be so kingdom-minded and so driven by heaven and God that you got to have everybody like, some people are not going to work for you, but you got to know how to excuse them nice and kindly, give them to someone else. And if I say anything to this generation, don't be so hungry to get a crowd to prove how great you are. The crowd is what will destroy you. You can have 3 people on your team will do more than 500.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying not to scream over here, Bishop. Keep talking. I'm over here like, I'm trying not to. I'm ready. Yeah, I want to go off. Go ahead.
So
you want it?
I just want to ask a question to, I'm trying to bring everybody in, Ashley, on that, because I know that a lot of times you've had to work and build teams for different things that you wanted to do. You want to talk about that a little bit of just in general of what's good and what's not so good, and what you recommend
for team building?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely learning how to be all things to all people in a way, because one of the most important parts of leadership that I've learned in my very, short time here is that everyone has a different communication style. And sometimes we're more interested in being right than getting results. So if we approach everybody the same exact way, then there are people that will be lost and not get the message. So if we want to be effective in I'm sorry for the background noise, I'm at work.
Please make sure your students are in the class, please.
We have to make sure that when we approach people, we approach them at a place where they're able to receive, and that we are able to take criticism as mentors, and take correction as mentors, because it's super important not only to pour out, but even understand that you're in a position where you also are supposed to be receiving, because even the people that we're helping on their journey, they're also in our life, I believe, for a reason to help us on our journey. There's some type of reciprocity, even if they don't have the wisdom to share with you, they have a life experience that will broaden your perspective in some type of way that makes you more valuable in the world. So I think when it comes to building teams and building relationships, one of the most important pieces is going to be communication and setting boundaries. So with all the people that I've worked with, we set clear intentions and clear goals at the outset. And then I ask more questions than I give answers, because that's what you learn when you get a mentor, is that they're going to teach you the questions that you never even thought to ask. Mm-hmm. So there's no way that you can ever be in a position where you think you know, because your mentor is going to broaden your perspective in that, oh, I didn't even think about this. I didn't even consider these options. And that's what's going to make you probably the most effective, is that you listen just as much, if not more, than you speak. And it can prove to be invaluable sometimes in building those teams and building those relationships.
Awesome, awesome. Bishop Bellinger, what do you think about that?
I think, I agree with it. You got to build your right team. Always when I deal with churches, I said, you got to know your leadership team. You got to know your leadership team. Then you got to know the team out of the team, because there's always that team out of the team. And then you got to have your inner circle. Inner circle have to be people who are not like. Your inner circle can be nobody on your top level or your second level. Your inner circle got to be people who are going to be honest, who are going to be upfront with you, because these are your trusted people. It's like I have an inner circle at my church. My number one executive is my wife. Now, I may have one person in church as my inner circle, but my inner circle is another group. And so when you form your team, you got to ask yourself, what's the purpose of this team? And if this team don't understand your vision, your goals, watch this. And this is what most leaders have a problem with the leaders, the ambition of the leader. Because you may change tomorrow morning, and I can guarantee you, those who are listening now, your perspective after the day is going to change tomorrow morning, and they're going to think you are crazy. But vision is always changing. Vision never stays still, because vision gives you vision to the insight of another vision. So they say, man, what? You told me something yesterday. You changed it in your mind now. Vision never is stabilized. It's always bringing to pass. So your team going to be the most important. But pick your team wisely. This is the thing I say again. Have your team fill out resumes. Do credit check. Do personality checks. Or do background check. Do financial check. Why? Because your vision could be damaged because of the people that you like and love. But once you get in that position, and they get in that position, no turning back. You want the right people. Get understand, I'm a professional. I get paid to sit on boards. I don't pay to sit on no board. They pay me. So my job is to make sure I give sound advice. So what I'm saying to the two of you all, if you have not started, to all three of y'all, position yourself to be paid to sit on boards. I'm saying this to young leaders again. Position yourself to get paid on board. Ain't no glamour sitting on no board because it's got a well name. Listen, you have the name. Your name is worth something. And so your leaders that's coming, give them a little something every now and then for sitting on the board.
Yep. Good advice. Good advice. Now, I'm going to take a turn a little bit. And
here we go.
Now, I'm still trying to stay on the topic this time. For all three of you, what can you say to people of our generation or generations that are a little younger than us about being a good mentee? Because if we've talked about being a mentor and all the things that encompass that and some good advice on that. But what can we tell people of how to be a good mentee? Because if you have the best mentor in the world, even the best mentor that's the best for you, if you're not open, in my opinion, open and able to receive and take advice or criticism, then that relationship's not going to work. Even if, on paper, you guys should work so well together. So can you guys just give a little, just your opinion on how, or advice to people of how they can be a good mentee in that relationship?
Well, I'll start. And I heard this while Ashley was talking. I was like, oh, this is so good, because flexibility is like, Ashley was just focusing on when she was talking. I just felt, you have to be flexible. You have to be able to be everything to every type of situation and be able to be flexible. Even if you have to figure out whether this is where I'm supposed to be or not, you still, at some point, you have to be able to listen to even know how to decipher what to do. So listening and being flexible. I love being poured into, where I do like being a mentor, but I love being a mentee because I just like the knowledge, to constantly get and get and get, and then be able to give it back. So I would say, to be a good mentee, be flexible, be able to have sound mind, even with the information and the pouring that your mentor is giving you. Still be able to know what to take and maximize it to the 1,000%, know what to take and know this is where I am, so I'm building on this. Just be able to have sound mind and be open to still be taught and be flexible.
Good.
Awesome.
What about you?
I can jump in when I'm talking to my kids, my students, or whoever, the people that I work with. And I'm usually dealing with opportunity youth around 14 to 26 is the main population that I work with. I tell them a few things always. One, your excuses don't matter. And either you want it or you don't. So a lot of our kids, when we first get started, they make a lot of excuses. It's hard for them to be accountable. And so I tell every single one of them, no one is coming to rescue you. So your excuses don't matter. You have to save yourself. Either you want it or you don't. I can't get in the ring and fight for you. I can't do the work for you. I can give you the information and I can show you the best practices. But if you're not going to get in the game and put in the work, then it's really not going to amount to much of anything. Another really important thing that I tell them is learning how to identify and control your emotions is something that our kids lack across the board, because they know maybe 4 to 5 primary emotions, which is happiness, sadness, anger, depression, and sometimes they'll give you some version of like maybe a positive emotion, maybe joy or excitement. But they struggle with the gamut of emotions that come. So then you hear them saying a lot of things like, I don't feel like, or it's not fair that. And try is a word they're not allowed to use with me. Fair is a word that they're not allowed to use, because those things don't exist in real life as an adult. So teaching them how to identify those emotions and then place themselves as the master of those emotions instead of letting their emotions control them. Their emotions are valid, but I had a student coming here today and he talked about, I'm just not motivated to do school and stuff like that. And we had to break down the reality, like motivation is an emotion. And when motivation is gone, you still have to rely on your discipline, because as a young man who wants to become a full-grown adult, you have to be disciplined in this world, even if you're not motivated, to do the things that are going to get you to where you want to be, even when you don't feel like it. So those are the main conversations that we have with these students that I work with and the kids that I work with in the neighborhood. Those are the main things, like controlling your emotions, not letting your emotions control you, making sure that you don't get stuck in a victim mindset of waiting for someone, some politician or something, or somebody else to come save you and fix your life and make everything better. So those are the things that I like to focus on.
Ashley, can you write all of that in a book and publish it? I couldn't write fast enough. You was talking and I'm trying to write, and I was like, I can't get over this. I'm going to rewatch the broadcast and copy all of it. Don't worry, you just helped me.
Yes,
for real. Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Before I pass it to Bishop Bellinger with the same for him to give those comments, I also wanted to just say that with this group, I'm so happy because we all have different practices, different lifestyles, and you can literally apply the advice that everybody is giving in every area of your life. So even when it comes to church or ministry, because you can say, oh, well, how can I do that? How can I apply what Ashley has said to us for ministry or spiritually? what you just said about not doing your mentor cannot do the work for you, that's the same thing in every area, whether it's business, whether it's your relationships, whether it's friendships, and especially if it's ministry and if you have a leadership position, or if you want to be a leader in any type of position, whatever you're trying to do and your mentor is working with you, you cannot have them do the work for you. And it's just like when we go to church and you're like, oh, I want to be better at this. I want to change what's inside of me here. Your pastor or your leader or your mentor can give you all the things that you need to do. But if you don't do them and you don't activate that faith and activate what you're supposed to do, then to me, you're not going to change. To me, it's more, sometimes, depending on the situation, it's more than just saying, okay, Bishop Bellinger, I really want to be better at this area spiritually in my life. And if Bishop Bellinger gives me all this advice and says, okay, but you got to read your word, you got to do this, you got to do that. Same thing as if a young man is telling Ashley, I want to get ahead in life and do this. And she's like, okay, you have to do A, B, and C. If you don't put the work in and give your best, then you're going to go nowhere. So what do you think, Bishop Bellinger, about everything we just said?
Well, there are 5 things that I got for you all. Number 1, you got to be flexible. Number 2, you got to be pliable. Number 3, you got to have less elasticity. Number 4, which is important, you got to learn that you got to want to be stretched. And the 5th thing, you got to be ready to grow. So let me take a scripture that's biblical and scripture that I like using in my leadership development. It's from the book of Psalms 1, where it says, blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stand in the way of sinners, or sit in the seat of the scornful. First thing, blessed is the man. You got to be happy where you are, okay? Blessed is the man. And give you 3 things. Stay away from sinful people who don't think like you, scornful people who's always talking. What's the other word I said? Stay away from people who don't feel like you feel. Blessed man walking out in the counsel of ungodly. Don't seek counsel from ungodly people. When I say ungodly people, don't seek counsel. Ungodly people. Never seek counsel from people who don't have the same thought of yours. But down in that other part of the text, it said you should be like a tree planted by the rivers of water. And this is what every leader needs to understand. You shall be like a tree. That word in Hebrew, tree, means to be made over. You got to be ready to be made over. You should be like a tree. Then it say planted. The word plant means transplant. Okay. Are y'all catching me? You got to be ready to be made over and ready to be transplanted. But watch this third part. By the rivers of waters. Rivers of water. You got to be ready for the multiple streams of income that's coming your way, the multiple stream of growth and financial wealth and happiness. Because if he makes you over, you can't stay where you are. He got to move you over where the streams of what you're looking for are flowing. May it help me? For a moment, I'll start off with that church, but you got to understand, I teach this in leadership. And I'm telling you, you got to be ready to be made over so you can be moved over so that everything can come to you. Stop running. I think I just told my wife, we were talking, and I say this again, I may have said it in the earlier part. Don't live off what you have. Live off what you have, not what you're going to get. And I told Bishop Dennis and I were talking about it today. He said, whoa, son, that's Bishop. I'm learning to live off what I have, not what I'm getting. Because what you get, you put it in a drawer and lock it, pretend like it ain't there, and continue to live what you have. The fortune that you have, learn to live off that. But what you get it, put it ready for investment. Okay?
Got it. Well, guys, we could talk forever. We're gonna have to wrap it up some. But before we close, I'm going to have Bishop Bellinger say some more things before we go. But I just want to encourage our viewers out there, no matter where you're trying to go or grow in your life, whether it's spiritually, physically, financially, emotionally, in your career, it's always good to seek advice and counsel from those who know more than you. Be flexible, be willing to learn, be willing to do the work. Be willing to grow. And sometimes for me, growth all the time is not comfortable. So when you're growing, it's not a comfortable feeling in every area that I just named, whether it's spiritually, physically, financially, with your relationships. Growing is not always comfortable. So don't quit when, you know, it gets a little rough, or you feel like, oh, this is not smooth sailing as I thought it would be, or I'm not elevated to this position as fast as I thought I would be, or, you know, or even in ministry, I don't have as many people as I thought I was going to have, and I don't know what I need to do. No, stay the course and continue to do the work. So before we close, I just want to give Bishop Bellinger the floor to pour out in any way that he deems necessary. And before I do that, girls, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, this was great.
I'm good. I want to say
thank
you again, Bishop Bellinger. We have to connect since you're here in Columbus. I'm for real, like this week, let's connect.
Okay.
Because I know you probably have a lot of wisdom and things that you can pour in, especially with the population that I work with over here. And we'll talk more about that afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. I want to thank Project 365 for having me back on. I do. I want to thank Project 365. I love Project 365. I'm an advocate,
awesome.
Even if they don't know it. Elder Portia, if you don't know it, I'm an advocate. So thank you for having me again. And Bishop Bellinger, thank you. Ashley, thank you.
Thank you. Nice meeting you.
You too.
All right, Bishop Bellinger, you have the floor.
So let me try to surmise this in 5 minutes or less. Joseph, you all know the story about Joseph and his brother. Joseph was a millennial, a Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Q, Mega Psi 5, don't hate me, you know, Alpha Phi Alpha, you know, all that. But he was this generation that had favor on his life. And before he went to his brother, he knew he would grace with goodness and leadership. He goes to his brother because they didn't like him. And so in this season, people are not going to understand or like you because there's favor on your life even before you start talking. He tells his brother, and the Bible said they hated him the more. He goes back, talk to his father, tell his father the dream, and the father reserve it. That's why you got to find somebody. They may not like what you say, old heads, but they're going to reserve it. He go back and tell his brothers again, and they really hated him. And they did everything they could to destroy him, to cast him down. So you go to Genesis 50. We don't skip. And so his father is buried, and the people who tried to destroy him now are standing at this pit, this bowl. So what do we do? He's empowered to destroy us. He's empowered to take us out of here. We lied on him. We told him that dad over there. And here's what Joseph had to resolve. You want to resolve this, that though people hated you, don't like you for the way you look, what you stand for, and they did everything to conspire to destroy you, Joseph said to himself, I don't need your apology, because had it not been for God allowing you to bring evil my way, I would not be in a place of prosperity to help your behind out. Okay, so Joseph's personality was such, hey, nothing to forgive. You did what God allowed you to do. And so you're going to encounter some people, let them do what they want to do, because at the end of the journey, the very people who they don't like, don't give you the authority for them to love you. So I said, press your way as a leader, stay forward what God has given you, and live in the moment that you're in now. For the eternity, I'm talking about the pre-eternity, the moment where you are. The pre-eternity is after this moment, you're going to live a healthy and good life before you see God. Your leadership, listen, I'm listening to all three of you. You all are destined for greatness, not next year, but on tomorrow.
And I receive it.
Okay? Be like Joseph. Don't worry about it. It's in God's hand. It's in God's budget. It was in God's hand to get him there. It's in your hands now to keep it there.
Good. I love it. So guys, thank you so much. Bishop Bellinger, you know, I love talking to you. I really do. You have so much wisdom, and you're just such a great man in general. So I love talking with you. Thank you, ladies, for coming on the panel with us today. I'm sure, Bishop Bellinger, we're going to have more conversations later. And I'll get you guys information. I'll give you Ash's information so you guys can connect, because I did not know that you were in Columbus as the same as Ashley. But thank you everyone for coming today. For our viewers, please share this broadcast. I feel that no matter who you are, where you live, where you're from, your background, your religious beliefs, I feel like everyone can take something from this broadcast today to help pursue their dreams, to help grow them as individuals, and to help be who you're supposed to be, especially in the season. And I feel like this season is a good time for everyone to just put down the excuses and to just be who you are supposed to be. And this broadcast can really give you some great advice on how to do that. So until next time, we'll be here tomorrow again, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All of you have a wonderful, wonderful week, and I'll see you guys soon.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.
Thank you.